Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Welcome to Dig on America, where we speak truth to power. Every week, we give you the dig on how American history, policies, and media created the social and political issues we face today. DOA is independent media supported by listeners, but they'll tell you we're just fake news, deep state propaganda, funded by George Soros, the Clinton Foundation, BLM Marxists, and
Zorro.
I will go with former Italian leader and salad dressing magnate, Caesar.
Yeah, thank you for the delicious dressing.
And probably the best crouton. Like, can we be honest about a couple of things in this country for once?
What about casino? What about casino? Does he have the best casino?
Oh,
is his palace the best?
He even opened up a little pizza shop for you brokies out there.
That's his brother.
Oh, Little Caesar. Yeah, Little Caesar always be on something, man. He's a little twitchy, Little Caesar.
It's his brother or his
crazy
son.
Bread. I'm like, yo, bro, get off me with the bread. Enough.
Welcome everyone to Dig on America. This is Jason, Road Warrior Dutch, on the road again. And I am here with the fabulous Mikey Feminier. Fabulous at a few things. Pizza. And we have a very special guest with us today. She is running for United States Senate in South Carolina. Your hands up. Throw it around your head like a roller coaster or whatever.
Stop. We are not
like a helicopter.
Leave Bubba Sparks alone.
Is that Bubba Sparks? I don't think that's Bubba Sparks. But we have Catherine Fleming Bruce with us today. Catherine, hello. Welcome to Dig on America.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about being here.
And thank you for streaming the show. So Catherine, we would like to jump right into your segment of the show here. So you are running for Senate, and we've been focusing a lot on the Senate races and the congressional races lately because of the fact that we seem to have a party in power in a lot of places, especially in the South, that seems to be up to some shenanigans. So I'm just going to take a wild guess there and say that you're running as a MAGA Republican and you're a huge fan of space lasers. Does that sum it up?
No.
Oh,
running as a Democrat against Tim Scott.
All right. So when I first saw your campaign, I was super excited because of Tim Scott. So
yes.
Tim Scott, and I don't want to focus on Tim Scott, but this focuses on you, but I'll start out with him because I want your opinion on something interesting. He's often paraded around, somehow unbeknownst to him, he's being paraded around by the GOP as like this symbol of diversity. And look, if Tim Scott and the Hodge twins and Candace Owens can say this, I'm not going to quite put Tim Scott in the Candace Owens circle, but he hovers around it enough where I think it's problematic. Your thoughts on Tim Scott?
You saying he adjacent?
He's adjacent to Candace.
Yeah. Okay.
Very few are as bad as her and the Hodge twins. I mean, maybe what's his face from Fox News who ran for governor in California? What's old boy's name? Can't remember his name. It's Larry Elder. Larry Elder and the Godfather's chicken guy what's his face? Who passed away a couple years ago. He's in that camp too, but Herman Cain. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not good at
Cain's
remembering
chicken?
names. No.
Oh.
CAIN compared to CANE. If it was, I'd give credit where it's due.
I was like, yo, I didn't even realize.
That's some good yard bird.
Yeah.
But Catherine, your thoughts on Tim Scott? Is he the symbol of diversity that the GOP masquerades him as?
He is there in the U.S. Senate for a purpose. As you know, he's the only African-American Republican in the Senate. And he's being heavily invested in, to the tune of, $21 million at least. probably a little less, maybe spent a little bit.
See what they got to do to beat you.
What's that?
See what they got to do to beat you.
Oh, he's still raising money, still raising money. And, we're far below that. So running for what? But he is there as a linchpin in the Republicans' arsenal to try to deflect and to be a diversion.
Right.
And so many people do fall for that. But I think people are now seeing the impact of some of his votes. So, most recently we had a couple of infrastructure and other bills that address the need that was already there, but exemplified and exacerbated by COVID.
Right.
And he voted no on those. So I've been to a couple of the meetings of mayors and city council people and so forth. And they're talking about, we don't have hospitals. We don't have good roads. We don't have all these things. And thank goodness for this funding that's come through. So I think people are seeing the deficit that he brings. In addition, we just had the voting rights bill.
Right.
And his vote on that and his, kind of showdown with Cory Booker on that to defend that position. So he's there to defend all the wrong decisions. Right. Today they tried to put the abortion protection bill on the floor, and he had a big speech about that. So on the wrong side of everything, but there to defend and to try to produce this philosophy, right, that he hopes people will buy into. And I think my job as his opponent, once I win the primary, will be to create the vision that we want people to have, the one that is inclusive, the one that makes sure that people don't have their rights stripped away, the one that invests in our communities. So I'm actually working on a book that I will release sometime in August. Hopefully around the same time he's going to release his book. So we're going to have a national competition and conversation about the vision, not only for the state of South Carolina, but the vision for the country. And of course, that includes globally now because of what's happening, not only in Russia and Ukraine, but also the opportunity that gives us to talk about what's happening in other parts of the world, like Yemen and Israel and other places, and try to create a common vision for the globe that will be freeing for people.
And you're going to email us how and where to get your book when it's available, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
And then you're going to sign one for me, right?
I'll be happy to do that. I've done a book already. I did one in 2015. It's called The Sustainers, and the rest of it's kind of long, but it focuses on both behind the scenes of producing and preserving our civil and human rights sites, like let's see which one I want to talk about. Well, the one that we did in South Carolina, of course, been Jessica Simpkins' house. She was our local, we call her the matriarch of civil rights here. But we also look at the Lorraine Motel where Dr. King was assassinated. How did that become, we go there and we take in the interpretive pieces that the folks put together, but we don't know how that got there. And it turns out that it was on the auction block and it was just about to be destroyed. And so a man who was involved in civil rights stopped that, saved the building, and was one of the prime movers behind that. So I talk about that as being an extension of people's civil rights work. So saving these buildings is a way, it does a couple of things. It gives us an opportunity to know that history, but it also gives us a way to see our current civil rights activity as a extension of the work that these folks here were doing.
Right.
So we see ourselves in a continuum of civil and human rights work as opposed to starting something brand new. So that book is there, and it's gone around, and we've had conversations in numerous cities about it, and so now we have the CRT talk, which is kind of hilarious because our book's in a number of libraries. Like, wow, okay, are they going to strip it out of the libraries?
Okay, so we've actually uncovered the founder and propagator of CRT. We found her. Here she is.
Yep. It was her.
It was all along.
She already knew.
Here we are. We've been talking about for a year and a half that CRT doesn't exist, and we've proven ourselves wrong because here you are. So, but Haas will be. So I do want to real quick throw one thing. Haas's favorite senator is Tim Scott. So
don't do that to him. See how he do my man's when my man's ain't
He's
around.
ready. That's how I react. Every time I go around the state and I say Tim Scott to somebody, their face just, like when you have a lemon, their face just.
Look at him! Look at him! He's wrenching his hands.
Tim Scott looks like that dude, one of the ancillary characters on Fat Albert. I forget the dude's name.
Yes,
he looks just like him.
Hold on,
with that major upper gum action, and this mug got capital gums and lowercase t. And Tim Scott, God,
and this is not an uncommon reaction,
just
from the people. So I'm.
Is there nothing you won't do for? Is there nothing you won't sell for money and power and status?
Yes,
and you're not even respected, dude. You're not even respected. We saw them not even want to shake your hand as you're standing up on the dais.
Yep. Or let you in. And they stop them outside of the building.
Yeah. The same people you caping for, if you're not standing next to a white person that says that's Tim Scott, treat you just like they treat everybody else, dude.
They'll think he's an NBA player.
You still out there shucking and jiving and dancing and soft shoeing for these people.
All right.
Oh my God.
So
people can see it now, and it gives me hope that they will do what needs to be done at the polls this year to take him out of that position.
It's sad. I know Mikey's going to show us the picture, so go ahead and show us the picture real quick first.
No, I was going to say I had a different guy that I thought Haas was going to say, so I started pulling this up. So let me know if this drives you. Do you remember this young man?
Yeah, that dude too. But he always played a sellout dude too.
The mayor from RoboCop.
Yes.
He's like, that thing is a killer.
But not that dude. The dude from Fat Albert. He's one of
the background characters.
One of the background characters.
The Cosby kids.
And when he ran, his hands were always like this. When he ran. You know who I'm talking about. I know you.
Yes.
His hat was rolled up. And oh my God. I can't stand Tim Scott.
You talking about
Tim Scott, Herschel Walker, freaking Larry Elder, Sheriff Clark.
Sheriff Clark is. I missed him before. We were talking about him earlier about like Candace and the Hodge twins earlier. Sheriff Clark is up there, but the thing with Tim Scott is
the light-skinned reverend with the chin strap 1995 beard.
Oh, there's
why you gotta rip on chin straps? I almost shaved.
No, he got the stringy chin strap looking like he looked like Young Buck from G Unit.
The sad thing about Tim Scott is I thought when he was first elected, real early on, I thought he had some promise to be a change maker.
And they beat that out of him.
And I think I really believe that early on he actually might have wanted to be. But then he said, money, power, popularity, and party over what I believe in. Catherine, what do you?
Good ones.
Yeah, Catherine, what do you believe in, Catherine? Why should we vote for you over Tim Scott?
Well, I definitely believe in making sure that people are engaged and that people who are affected by things have a chance to weigh in. So we need to have a system that allows us to do that. We have a democratic system. It needs lots of improvement, but I believe in that. I believe in defending that. in any of the institutions that make that possible. I've had a chance to be a poll manager for a number of years. So I've seen the community people that help with elections. And, without them, most elections couldn't happen. So I believe in making sure that our election system and our laws protect everybody's ability to have access to voting without burden. I believe in doing everything we can diplomatically to make sure that we have peace. And if we can't have that, to make sure that people who need defense are defended. So, that's my position on what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, just in a nutshell. I certainly believe that women have the right to make their own decisions about their own bodies. And for one thing,
Preach.
I know people who have died having children, or shortly before, somewhere in the childbirth process. And so I think a lot of people forget that childbirth is not, going to the store and getting a stack of gum and coming back. It's always, there's always a risk there, especially if you don't have access to care, regular insurance, if you don't have if you have poverty and underlying conditions. So all the more reason why I could not tell a woman, okay, you have to have that baby. So there's just no way I think that's justifiable.
Right. Or bring the baby to term, let the baby grow in your body, form that bond of hosting a child in your body, only to give it away for adoption.
Yeah.
And then you're still enduring the risk of whatever complications could happen during childbirth.
Yes.
For a
So
child,
it has to be, we have to have the kind of health care that everyone needs, access to health care, starting with that, starting with making sure we have the proper income that will sustain people, that they have housing, that they have proper nutrition, that they have opportunity. So you have to start there as the place where then people are able to make those decisions and decide about the number of children they're having and how many. And if you take that away, then you don't have any control over your life at all, really. You can't go to college, you can't work, you somebody can rape you and you have to be tied to that person forever. It's just, a lot of heinous stuff.
Yeah.
So I went to a rally, emergency rally last week. I was the only of us 3 U.S. Senate candidates. I was the only one there. And I spoke to the crowd, mostly young women, and they were as fired up as I had ever seen any crowd. I've been to a number of rallies. So I don't think people are going to take this line down. Absolutely not.
Do you think that this leaked document and subsequent decision is going to be the one thing that pushes women over the edge, and then they just start gathering up the men and start putting us in cages? Because I think we've misbehaved in such a way that it may be irreversible. So I'm just waiting for the reverse hands-made tale thing to happen, all of us to get captured. I'm doing my best to stay on y'all's good side. What can we do to keep like nice pillows inside our cages? Because this is like, if this was flipped and it was something that was dangerous and killing men, and they had no say over it, and they just had to roll the dice to see what happened, there would be blood in the streets.
Oh yeah,
we ain't going. You ain't gonna make me, and like we would go insane. So
most certainly, and you see, I've seen the clips of people outside the Supreme Court justices' homes protesting, and that's one of the things Tim Scott says. Oh, we ought to be more concerned about that and more concerned about the leak than we are about the contents of the document, which focus on a lot of history that doesn't recognize us as human.
Well, they were going
Doesn't,
back to the 1600s and citing precedent from the law and stuff from the 1600s.
That's
Really?
incompetent.
Really? That's like using leaded gas in your car, or instead of a car having a horse-drawn carriage, and you're not Amish, you're just rolling around and you got that in your driveway.
That shows
Small
people who
complaint.
are not competent for what they're doing. And I will say this because I know that Dutch was saying earlier that after this segment, y'all are going to talk about states' rights. I was watching a little bit of our South Carolina House proceedings tonight, and they were talking about the Constitutional Convention. So South Carolina is one of the states that decides that it's going to buy into this Constitutional Convention. And one of the things that they wanted to do was not to, can't believe I'm saying this, not to include the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment in the revised Constitution.
Oh, you don't say.
Can you believe? Can you? I was like,
I can believe.
I
believe it.
I wonder why it is they could have possibly picked those three. I mean,
Bad
Can
luck.
we-
13,
I
obviously.
tell you.
you know what you do? You know what you do? You tell them, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm in. Let's do it. Let's get rid of all three. We'll trade you for the second, and we'll go from there. And then but here's the thing. This is why they're so dishonest, is because and it's shocking that Republicans have moved this way, because there has always been a big silent group in there that felt this way, but the the majority, I think, were either unawares or not in that group, or knew about it and kept silent. I'm sure there's a spectrum, but if you go against one word of any amendment that they like, or any part of the Constitution that they are a fan of, they will fight you to the bitter end and lose their collective minds over it. But hey, you know what? Let's just drop probably the three most important amendments in the entire Constitution, if you include the amendments as part of the Constitution, which they basically are. But those are the things that they want, that they're like, the audacity to even bring that up in a conversation and have it be taken seriously is absolutely astonishing.
This was from a Post and Courier reporter, so I wasn't watching that part, but I told him, please send me the clip of who was saying this.
I don't even know how to respond to that. And I'll tell you what.
That's like the Indiana senator that was like, well, we should leave interracial marriage up to the states. What kind of
that's
we gonna try to regulate who people can officially love on paper?
We'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about states' rights. But let's get to Catherine's campaign here real quick. But I want to, before we do that, real quick, we're working on making this game quicker. But we're going to play a real quick game with you. And I know we've already talked for a few minutes, but to break the ice, these are the most important 4 questions you will ever be asked in your life. We're going to play a game with you. It's called 4 Down Territory. So let me call an audible here. 18, 19, 20, 27, Jacksonville, Mississippi. Say hut.
Jacksonville, Mississippi.
It doesn't have to make sense. Okay.
I'm sorry, Bruce.
We apologize.
We will ask you 4 questions. You will give us 4 answers. Okay. And I will defer to one of my co-hosts, whoever would like to go first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Sherbet. Orange sherbet.
Orange sherbet. Okay.
Like my grandma.
That's a little kid ice cream.
So
that's adorable.
That orange sherbet.
Those are good. Hershey's chocolate is a close second.
Oh, a push pop? Are you kidding me right now? I would go for a push pop today.
And you know, it's a cup of sherbet is probably a few cents. I took my daughter to Cold Stone the other day, and granted, it was near Anaheim, but
Oh,
$9 $9 for a,
They spank
They
it.
got
It's
They
a
got
burlesque
you.
show for the ice cream.
bro, that's the spot that they get all the little like kids who got allowance. That's how they funnel all their money in. Like,
Not-
you guys want to
nine-
go get some ice cream by the movies? Like, hey, son, I gave you $30 to go to movies. Where my change at? Dad, there is no
Got ice cream.
the ice cream man got that change, bro.
Oh,
You're not walking out of there with the rest of that other 20. Nah, son. Take
all right,
that.
so orange sherbet. So the people now remember, these are very important questions to your campaign. They
Right.
may make or break you. Mikey.
I didn't think we'd have to get this serious so fast, but when it's the middle of the night and you need just a little snack, what do you go for?
lasagna.
Oh, a
God
whole lasagna. What?
Wow.
Wow. You just have lasagna on deck at your house, just like ready at all times?
Wait. Now, is this are you
Snack.
making do you have extra leftover
Yeah, this is
lasagna on the
extra
bench?
leftover.
Or is this are you baking
I
a
have
frozen
follow-up
one?
question
now.
at this
No, this is one that I made.
From scratch? She grinds the flour.
Follow-up question.
She's
follow-up
grinding the
question.
flour, growing the
That
tomatoes.
does not-
Oh
does
yeah.
not count as my question. This is a
Yes, it
follow-up
does.
lasagna question.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Mikey A question. Interior piece or corner piece of lasagna?
Oh, easy.
Now this
Super
is an
easy.
important. This is
Interior
an
piece.
What?
No, corner.
Now
All right,
if it was macaroni and cheese.
It was nice
would
talking
be
to you.
corner.
Good luck on your campaign.
now
Now
we
macaroni and cheese is the corner.
The division in this country is remarkable.
you know
Remarkable.
what?
That-
There's
that
a lot of
would
things
be
I
the
can
corner,
tolerate, but
macaroni
not
and
the corner
cheese.
piece, the crusty corner piece of lasagna. Come on, quit playing.
Now there is
Well, yeah,
caveat.
I think it is kind of close.
It's
But
the
but
extra burnt sauce.
caveat though, and I agree, corner piece. But if there's a corner piece, you know, sometimes the cheese doesn't quite make it all the way to the whole corner.
And
It's
it's
got to
just-
be properly cheesed.
Yeah, because that's the part that'll slice open the roof of your mouth. That little piece of pasta
Oh,
that's
the little razor blade.
Ain't no cheese on it. It's the Captain Crunch piece of lasagna right there.
Oh, Captain Crunch is the worst. Captain Crunch. Whenever I eat Captain Crunch, I feel like my mouth has just been murdered.
Sandblasting.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's the worst.
It's the same thing as sandblasting. You're just doing it a little bit slower.
Mhm.
Same thing. Same concept.
All right, Haas, you're up.
All right, my question. All right. One has to go.
Oh no.
One
What-
has to go. Which
One
is
has,
it gonna?
one has to go. Okay.
All right. The OJs, the Whispers, the Isleys, Temptations. One has to go. Which is it gonna be?
You
Yeah,
and
right.
or you can pick Big Haas to go, and we'll.
He ain't right. He ain't right to make her
Definitely
choose.
not
him.
the Isleys.
Right.
Mm.
He ain't right.
Ronald Isley be waiting outside the closet for you. Like, what'd you say?
Like, you busted, girl, you busted.
Why didn't you pick me?
I guess I have to say the Whispers because
Whoa, okay.
they didn't produce as much music as the others. That's the only reason.
They can't even make it in on Strength of Rocksteady.
I know. I know.
And
hard.
you rock steady.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
Rock
That was a hard one.
Don't bring the cabbage patch up in here.
That was a hard one. And you
The
know,
good-
they're actually the Whispers are gonna be here. There's an event they're happening now.
well, you can't go now.
Oh,
You can't go.
No, I'm calling him. Hold on. Where my phone at?
Nobody,
y'all
nobody,
know,
nobody heard that part.
Catherine
Hello,
Fleming
Whispers.
Bruce put
Hello,
y'all out in
Nobody
the one
heard
has
that part.
thing.
Whispers. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
they're actually
Whispers.
gonna be here, so I should have, if I had any political savvy at all, I would have not done that.
That you're an outsider. You're a loner.
But which the GOPers should love that. They love outsiders and loners. Yeah. All you need to do now is just say that you owned a strip club, and you'll be a
Right.
winner.
And
Um,
bottomize your conscience.
Hey,
Hold
you
on,
know what the good-
hold on 1 second, guys. I
He's
gotta
on the
leave him a-
phone. He's on the
I gotta-
phone with the Whispers.
Yeah, let me leave a message. Hey guys, Mikey Famine from Dig. I need you guys to put somebody on the ban list. She's running for office. She probably would have had a VIP thing, but yeah, I need you to make sure she doesn't go in. I'll send you the link in your Twitter DMs, and just
Love you.
sorry, but the OJ's beat you out. Bye.
I'm telling you, big trouble.
He slammed it. Oh, what? The OJ.
The
All right.
OJ's.
The good news is if you lose Rocksteady, though, we'll always have Bebop.
We got one more question, dude.
We do have one more question.
Okay.
You want me to take it or you guys want it?
You take it, Dutch. Go ahead.
Okay. So you are stranded in your house and the zombies are about to break down the door.
Here we go.
Where do you where do you head? Where do you try to escape to? A certain store, a relative's house? What is your escape plan?
You just said they're outside though.
Yeah, you have a way to get out, obviously. So you have to leave your house. They're coming down the street.
New question.
No, that's a perfect. I want to know her escape plan. I want to know how much of a survivalist that she is. Where do you head during the zombie apocalypse?
Can zombies climb?
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
Are these World War Z zombies or Walking Dead zombies?
Zombies, your ass is toast because they're gonna definitely climb.
Oh,
Yeah.
they can climb. Okay.
So let's define the zombies. Are they World War Z zombies or Walking Dead zombies? Haas? Which are they?
Are they Night of the Living Dead zombies?
Yeah, those think too much for my. There's very different genres of zombie.
Or the ice zombies.
I think
Game of Thrones?
let's see.
Let's just call them run of the mill Walking Dead zombies.
Yeah, so no climbing.
Okay, no climbing. All
So
right.
you go to the U.S. Capitol because they can't scale the walls.
Okay, I think I would. I live near a university, and they have plenty of tall buildings, so I think I'd slip into one of those and get on the roof.
There you go. And then you got your high-powered rifle to pick them off.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, when the zombies rushed the Capitol, they were let in. They were waving the
tour.
Yeah, they were just.
Yeah, they moved the barricades, right?
Yeah, the zombies were invited in to eat Nancy Pelosi, not.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't break
You
it.
just want Nancy? Oh, she in the back. She in the back. No, go down corridor A, hang a right, just past the vestibule. Okay?
You just see the
Hang a
zombie.
left, knock
zombie's
3
like-
times fast and 2 times slow, and they'll let you in. Yeah.
But then they get to Nancy and they smell the hand cream and they're like, "Go away."
They're not doing it.
Don't
Mine's
do
cold
that to
cream
her.
on your hands.
Don't do that to her.
We don't like Asper cream.
Yo,
They need some of that cream.
joint pain
Keep
ain't
it
no
away.
joke.
Hey, I played 30-something years of football, so
Sometimes you
that
gotta
joint
be.
pain ain't no punk.
Okay, so let's as far as your campaign goes, what would you say is your number one platform position?
Oh, I think my number one platform position is anti-corruption. I
Okay.
was
You going into the den of snakes? Then you trying to get into the den of snakes?
well, we need to.
Anti-corruption?
Yes,
Woo.
anti-corruption. I actually was appointed as the foreperson for our state grand jury public corruption investigation. So we actually did that through campaign finance, but it ended up showing a network of legislators, lobbyists, and corporations, institutions in the state that ended up working together so that the legislators are making law to support the corporations and not for the people.
Oh, of course.
So we got to do that. We got to do that investigation. We got to sign some indictments, and some people left their seats, not voluntarily.
Mm-hmm.
And we also got to produce a public report. So that kind of detailed everything in there about dark money and campaign ethics and all of these sorts of things that the public should know about.
For the uninitiated, explain what dark money is.
Oh, well, dark money is funding that is that does not have to be identified. The source does not have to be identified. So because we have some federal laws that have provided the shield, that means that you now have this river of money that's coming through that doesn't have to be acknowledged. So people don't know who's buying the votes.
Right.
And that's, thank you for saying it that way, because they're literally buying votes.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and so
Buying the ability to make a law.
Correct.
exactly.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Buying. I suppose the word literally isn't exactly accurate, but let's say in essence they're buying votes, right? That they are in a de facto way. They are purchasing either votes for their candidate and or the favor of that candidate once they are in office, and you can't even tell who they are because they're protected.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
okay, so anti-corruption, and I'm guessing that's only towards Republicans, right? You're not interested in any corruption within the Democratic Party, correct?
Oh, everywhere there's corruption.
Hey,
This is the
everybody
difference.
Everybody gets to smoke.
I was about to
Yeah,
say,
everybody gets to smoke. You're right.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, did you know that all of us are in or from Illinois?
We don't have any governors who aren't in jail.
Oh, I remember what was his name? Blago?
Yeah.
Well, not just him.
Hey, that's not just him.
It's not just him.
No, I think she's talking about the
Hey,
one that
He's not
Trump
to sell by
pardoned.
himself anymore.
Got
No.
a lot of
He
them in there.
We had, I think, 3 out of 4 in a row. The only one, there was one, and Edgar was not in any trouble.
Jim
but-
Edgar wasn't in trouble.
Yeah, but
He was the
and 2
one
of
out
them,
of the 5.
yeah, and 2 of them actually went to prison, and that was Ryan and Blagojevich, and they were back to back.
Mhm.
And Thompson had a lot of it. He was involved with a lot of that corruption. He actually was in bed with Ryan, right? So you know, it's, and frankly, I wouldn't be too surprised if Rahm Emanuel ends up in jail someday, because his fingers weren't too clean either. So you know,
Well, I will say corruption, but there's also the fact that we have our democracy that's under attack, under assault, and all of these things that we are seeing with the Voting Rights Act and what's happening to women, and you know what's happening to LGBTQ and all of that are all a part of this framework of destroying our public institutions, of creating authoritarianism as a system instead of democracy, and bringing into power a small faction of Christians, you know, because Christianity has a broad range of different interpretations. So it has a small slice of those Christians are the ones that they want to remake our society in. So it's really important right now not to just say, well, you know, I want to go to Washington in order to, you know, infrastructure and, you know, this sort of thing. This is not where we are. You know, we are talking a whole nother level of major reforms that will bury a lot of people. So that is the main thing. Of course, we also have the Russian-Ukraine threat, which could blow up in a lot of different directions.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have what's happening with law enforcement.
Real quick, isn't it remarkable how that left the front pages?
Yes. And
It's spent 2 weeks at the top, and now we're guilty of this too. It's barely talked about anymore.
Yeah.
Except to say, well, you know, gas prices are going up.
Well, that's Biden's fault, right? Like everyone just
Right.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Of course.
Biden sets the
He
gas
called
prices.
up all the gas stations in America and said, "Hey,
Yeah,
raise it up."
it's got to be what it is. You know, it's his fault for inflation. It's his fault for gas prices. I am curious though, where are you at on healthcare?
Well, I think that if COVID taught us nothing else, it should teach us that the healthcare system that we have is inadequate. So we need to have everyone covered. We need to have, and not just covered, because you could have coverage and still not be able to afford to pay for care. So we need
don't
to
say
have
that. Don't say that, because they got on Obama for that, because he said if you like your doctor, you could keep him, except in the fact of your freaking coverage is terrible, and your doctor's not gonna be able to do anything for you. So we're gonna put you in this. But I like my Dr. Ted.
It's so funny that Republicans loved their doctor until they told them to take a vaccine. Then they suddenly hated their doctor. It's
Just like Blue Lives Mattered
yeah,
until they was killing the cops at the Capitol.
yeah. It's whatever suits whatever.
that January 6th,
When they were beating them cops up in the Capitol and attacking them with American flags and killing a cop and all this other stuff. Blue Lives, a lot of hashtags got pulled off of profile pictures after the 6th. I'll tell you that right now. I know some people on my personal friends list who had the Blue Lives Matter crap on their profile picture frame that all of a sudden it was gone because they wanted to support the damn insurrection.
Now,
what about the cops? I thought all lives matter.
And who will ever forget, watching that? I actually was watching the kind of mundane proceedings, and I said, I gotta go run to the post office. I'll come back, because they were kind of at a break where they were going into some kind of executive session. And when I came back, all hell was breaking loose.
Right. I was sitting upstairs, and I'm like, do you see this? Do you see this? I was in shock. And my first thought was, this is after a few months of feeling disenfranchised. Right?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Just a few weeks.
Yes.
Just, from
look at
November
till January 6th. So 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, they went from they followed the exact same progression as civil rights campaigns do in about a 10-year period.
Yes. Do you know how much stuff happens before a riot happens? They skipped all of that. It was like, hey, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go right to Riot Street.
But the progression was still there, though. The progression was identical, because if you look at it was accelerated, because you look at it so this shows human psychology. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying that a lot of them didn't actually feel like the election was stolen, because they were told the election was stolen. They were told it was, and they believe their news sources, and they believe that everything else is fake, right? So they're a victim here of that. But they went right from, there's a problem, how come no one's listening to the problem? Let's stand out on the streets and march. And still not listening, let's go to court. Still not listening, we're having stand-ins and sit-ins. Still not listening, we start yelling. Still not listening, that's it, we're rioting. The only difference is those happened in 2-day intervals instead of years.
Within the space of 6 weeks, they did all of that. But look down their nose at a 10-year process or a 5-year process of it happening
for legitimate reasons.
Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I would say, just the idea that you have people in your community who are participating and making the election process possible, and we're ready to just say, oh, they're all just liars and cheaters and all of this. That was especially appalling to me as well. So I wanted to say another thing that is important, and there's so many different things, but I have been paying attention to what's happening in California with regard to making sure that African Americans who are descendants of slaves have some final redress. So they looks like they've moved a little closer to that than we have federally. Mm-hmm. But I would like to see, and I think if I go to Washington, I would like to look at all the players in the slave trade, because the slave trade was a global effort, a partnership, a collaboration.
Yep.
And so I would like all of the people who were impacted by that to be restored. And I would like all the people who are partners in that enterprise to help with the restoration.
Mm-hmm. And you got to remember too, now there's some companies that are in existence today that used to be named other companies that were pretty well involved in that. So, and I don't have the list right in front of me, so I can't recall, but I know that I read something about talking about, well, this company is now called this company, but back in the 1600s,
Chipotle?
they were called, yes, Chipotle.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I do want to ask you one. So a lot of what you're talking about, I think is important. Though there's one item that I think is two items that I think are very overlooked. So I'm going to ask you about these two, if I may. Number one, your thoughts on education. Number two, your thoughts on energy, if you would.
Okay, well, starting with energy, we're in a situation where we're in a squeeze because I guess principally we get a lot of our oil from other places, Russia being one of the main ones. And so there was some talk about going to alternative energy, but a lot of those take a lot of time and investment. I think we still have to develop that because of the negative impacts on climate to continue to use fossil fuels. So we do need to develop that, but we may not get there as fast as we'd like to in order to bring the cost down. But we still need to follow the timetable that international organizations have presented with regard to what we need to do to save our environment. So I'm certainly interested in investing so that we can properly develop alternative sources of fuel and energy. Although it'll be a transitional period.
Okay. And again, before you get off that, I'm glad you said that, because people think that we're advocating for blowing up all the gas stations tomorrow. Now, I might wish that I could, but I also am not an idiot.
Yeah.
They might disagree with that, but so like, what do you think is a fair period? Because what I usually hear is 20 to 30 years, but do you think that's too slow, too fast?
Oh, I'm trying to think of what the time period is that's recommended for action for climate action.
Well, climate action is usually 30 years.
That, aren't we?
No, I think there's still a little time.
2050
to the man who fell from Earth, who fell to Earth.
Yeah, so I think that's another 20 years.
2030 and 2050 are the benchmarks at this point.
Okay, so I think we need
for
to
progress,
accelerate.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think we need to accelerate to 10 years, to 12 years, maybe. 12 years being 2 Senate sessions, if you want to look at it that way. But making sure that we have our in 2024 that we don't veer off course and put Trump back in or put some or DeSantis or the Florida governor or whoever else, and try to stay on course so that we can go ahead and invest in development over a 12-year period.
Did you say Diet Trump?
I did.
DeSantis, it's the new, they renamed Diet Trump to DeSantis.
That's Coke. That's Trump Zero.
Look, I got bad news. I got bad news for you.
None of the overt.
None of the calories.
I got bad news for you. DeSantis is worse than Trump. He's just not.
He has the ability to talk.
He's just not as loud.
Yeah.
He's not as loud and obnoxious, and he's probably not as overtly bigoted. But his ideas are just as bad. And he's better at cloaking things. He is a better Trump than Trump could possibly be.
And that's all we need, right?
He looks like a damn used car salesman. He looks like one of those dudes.
Hey,
we
as a former used car salesman,
we can get you in that car. Hey, we can get you in that car.
I heard that
738 months at 13%. Okay.
I just don't understand why. I get the fact that oil. There's a lot of people who work in oil. I get that. I get that we have 98% of the cars on the road use oil. There are certain things for which oil is probably going to be used longer, such as things that use diesel and in the farming industry. And of course, we need petroleum for plastics and things of that nature. Plastics are extremely important to our economy and our life, right? In ways that we don't even realize. Plastics are super essential in medicine and things like that. So no one is saying, well, we should never drill again.
Right.
But when we look at gas prices going to $6 a gallon, and then to 3 years later they're $1.99, and then they're at $6, and then they're at $4.50, and then they're at $3.55. These commodity prices keep going up and up, and these oil companies continue to. They were cyclical before all this nonsense started. If you were an oil rigger or like a driller, or you worked within the oil industry as like a laborer, you were used to getting laid off every 3 to 5, 6 years, just because that's the way that it went. Because when the prices go too low, Chevron and Shell and those guys stop drilling. And then if they're not drilling, you have no job. Would it not be better to invest that energy into something sustainable, and I'm not advocating for lithium specifically, because there's a lot of issues with lithium, but a way to power a car and get you to work, where you don't have to worry about if the price on it is going to be the price on the fuel is going to be the same or different 6 years from now.
Or water or hydrogen. And these are all engines that have been made and
yes,
patent bought and then stuffed in the back of people's.
The buses in California run on hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So we actually had some experimentation and research and development of that here in South Carolina.
And these patents are out there.
Yeah,
they
hydrogen
just, the
batteries
companies bought them.
Well, Mikey, scientist Mikey, Dr. Fleming.
Yes.
What is the most prevalent element in the or molecule in the galactic cosmos?
Hydrogen.
Yes. There is hydrogen in what in your room in front of you right now? No. Mikey, in the room that surrounds you, what does not have hydrogen in it?
In the room that surrounds me, what does not have hydrogen in it?
Right.
Maybe some of my sophisticated computer components, but just about everything though.
Pretty much every molecule has hydrogen attached to it. Yeah. It's difficult to extract it, but it's the most prevalent thing in the cosmos. What should we use? What should we think about using? That or dead dinosaurs?
Hydrogen has its challenges as well. Like I get hydrogen is a great idea, but
it's
I don't know if you guys have
seen.
I don't know if you guys have seen the drivers in this country. If our grid gets better, as far as not being so much coal driven, but if it's off of more renewables and the battery life keeps getting better and better, so that we don't need as much battery. I think the Japanese have something coming out in spring. I gotta double check that, but it's hopefully if we can get these batteries on, then we can start getting like $15,000 electric cars. You know what I mean? But It's just the batteries are the expensive part. So if we keep doing it the way that we are doing it, then we're just gonna run out of minerals and it's not gonna work. And then it's gonna be however many we have plus 2 more years worth of it, and then it's just that it's all gonna dry up. So we got to change the way we're doing it and thinking about it. Hybrid time for now.
Yeah. And last thing, Catherine, we brought up education. I know that we're coming up on our hour here. So your thoughts on education, and like, obviously, other than burning books, what should we do to improve our education system in this country? Are you in favor of community college being at no cost, or curriculum changes? What do you see as the biggest thing to change?
Well, I think a lot of communities do have a community college network that makes it possible for young people to come in without spending a lot of money up front. So that can be modified to provide education the way maybe a couple of decades ago, where it was affordable. But we have to make sure we're investing in our education, that our states and our federal government are properly investing in that. A lot of that money has been taken away. A lot of it is trying to be transferred to charter schools and other non-public entities. So we have to come up with a better bargain to make sure that people have access to education and that they're not drowning in debt afterward. Those who do have debt, I do think it should be forgiven. I think that relief would do a lot to expand our ability to invest. People be able to buy houses and be able to buy cars, which they aren't able to do right now.
Start a business or
start a business. That's right. It would really be an engine of change, and then to reconfigure how we fund education in the future. And we have our high cost education. Scientists and doctors and physicians and people of that nature who have a more expensive education. So we have to look at how to make sure that they can be properly educated without a lot of burden as well.
Because if not, then you just scare everybody away.
Yeah.
It's like
kind of like they do in India and Nigeria.
Trade schools and stuff too.
I'm sorry, we were talking over each other there. What'd you say, Haas?
I said let's stop discouraging and demonizing trade schools and
correct
the trades.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Trades are, and I think people would welcome an opportunity like that now that COVID has kind of thrown a lot of people out of work, and a lot of people are seeking new opportunities. Certainly being a plumber, where you're kind of out and you're not, sitting in somebody's office all day long. That would probably be a welcome career change for many people. So we have to have this vision of what we want the world to be. And we have to learn some of the lessons that COVID is still teaching us about how to make sure that people can engage and how to make sure there's a safe place to engage. But we're going to have to fight for that, because there are people who want to take us back to 1619 or 1492 or as far back as they can.
What do you say to someone who might be looking to vote for Tim Scott, who's literally, they might not phrase it this way, but literally thinks that the vision that we should have and that we should all strive to be is a evangelical theocracy where we're all well armed and that businesses should be unchecked in what they can pay people? And that's literally the vision that they have, because they're not educated enough to see anything different. What is your message to that person?
Well, I think the people of my state, I can say to them, all of that is rhetoric, really. Stuff you hear on the radio when you're driving up, I-20, or, things that you hear on these talk shows, what have you. But we know what we experience. So I would call on people to think about your own experience, because I'm sure that everyone has been impacted, or they know someone has been impacted, over the past couple of years. So were you in those long lines to get food where you never were before? Did you lose your job? Do you have young people in the house who are kind of depressed and, don't know a way forward? Are you seeing changes when you're trying to grow food? If you're a farmer and you're seeing all these environmental changes happening. So look at your own experience and not listen as much to the rhetoric that people are talking about, which really is here, and it doesn't have anything to do with your experience. So if you trust your gut, then you can say, hey, is this really working for me? Is it working for my neighbor? And if they can say that, then I think we can turn and pivot and look at a different vision.
Yeah, but the only reason why we had problems with COVID was because COVID was invented by Nancy Pelosi to take out Trump, and then they wanted to control us with microchips, and they gave us a vaccine. Yeah, then masks are muzzles, and I'm too free to wear it. So,
yeah,
my body, my choice.
See how the that's the sad. That's what you're up against, Catherine.
Unless you're a woman with a
Good.
uterus, then it's not
Yeah,
your
good.
body choice.
Then it's not. No, it's your husband's body.
Your body, my choice.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know the percentage of people who, feel like that, because the ones who feel like that are vocal. The ones who are not quite there are probably silent because they don't want to get bashed by their.
But they hear
neighbors,
they
friends.
hear the loud ones, unfortunately, and
Yes.
and the bad thing is, and this is more of just like, I don't know how in the trenches you have been on this. We have been, because we actively engage with these people by choice sometimes, and sometimes not by choice, in this platform, right? So and on Twitter, and we see that they, as crazy as what they say sounds to you, to me, to a lot of people, the messaging is actually better than the messaging that the Democratic Party spits out for pro-COVID. And that's the problem, because they use logical fallacies, but they're logical so people buy into them, and they say, oh, well, the government must be doing this because I've always felt the government was corrupt, so thus, right? And like it's very dangerous, and it's hard for people like yourself who are trying to, and all the candidates that we have on, to try to cut through the muck, because the muck is so dense and the people are so entrenched in their thoughts. And it's much easier for Tim Scott to toe that line and say, yeah, I don't disagree with you. I maybe on everything, but I maybe he won't go so far as to say X, but he'll say Y, where you're like, well, wait, X, Y, and Z are all dishonest. I'm not going to go there. And then you look, and then they'll call you the conspiracy. Oh, look, she's just part of the deep state. And by the way, as a member of the deep state, thank you for funding the show, because
we appreciate it.
Yeah, very much. How can the people find you? And you're the what is it? June 14th, I believe.
June 14th, yes, but people can vote what we call in-person absentee, another way to say early voting. But in-person absentee starting Monday, May 16th. So at that point, people will be able to go to their election offices and vote until election day. And then on election day, June 14th, they'll be able to vote at their normal precincts. So yes, you can start voting as early as Monday for me.
And how can the people help your campaign?
Well, there's a couple of things we can. We really, really need your donations now, because this is the time that we have to kind of gear up and reach out to people around the state. So we need that support to, pay volunteers and buy materials and buy signs and, maybe even a billboard, who knows? So yes, you can go to my website, CatherineFlemingBruce.com. The donate button is there. You can visit my Twitter site. I'm on Twitter more than I'm on my other social media platforms, and that's at TNOVSA. So if you go there, you'll see the link there as well to my page, and you'll be able to get there. That's
and TNOVSA is an acronym for some deep state anti. Like it's an acronym for something very sinister, right?
Oh, just the historical thing. I work on historical buildings and
the National Satanic Organization of Virgin Avengers.
No, actually, just
But they do these things for real. You think we're joking, but someone actually will say it, and then it's not a joke anymore. So it's like that's why we have fun with it beforehand.